You remember the very famous SpongeBob episode about the guy who wakes up every morning and breaks his arms and goes to bed every night and breaks his legs? Darren McFadden might be that in the NFL. Oh, man. So Darren McFadden's injury history is long. It almost didn't fit on all the cards I was trying to make this morning. And Darren McFadden coming out of college was supposed to be, we just did a clip on Derrick Rose talking about guys coming out of college who were supposed to be the face of a certain sport, the face of a league. His size, his stature, he was Adrian Peterson-esque, right? But injuries got in the way. His most recent injury, though, might take the cake for all-time most ridiculous, right? So basically, according to Complex Sports, according to Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett, McFadden, who's expected to compete with rookie Ezekiel Elliot for Cowboys starting running back slot this summer, broke his elbow after he fell while trying to save his phone. He didn't report the injury right away because he didn't suspect anything was wrong, but after feeling pain in his arm for nearly 2 weeks, he finally told the Cowboys what happened and had to undergo surgery that will sideline him for about 2 months. We can go to the tweets for more details from Brandon George. We have 3 in a row, which we'll read off for you guys. Cowboys running back Darren McFadden missed 2 months with a broken elbow he suffered at home over Memorial Day weekend. Darren McFadden had surgery on his fractured elbow this morning. Practiced all of last week with injury. X-ray revealed break. Continues to say. Coach Gary Brown said Darren McFadden fell Memorial Day weekend on his right elbow trying to keep his cell phone from being dropped. Gary Brown also said McFadden received that, quote, pre-CBA money so he can afford another phone.
My God.
The best, though, Jason Witten, as you would say, Francis, your mates are around you when this happens. Quote, I actually saw it. It was a pretty swollen up. It's kind of making fun of him a little bit.
No doubt.
Think about it. If you fall, you drop your phone, I'm going to sit there laughing at you. I'm probably going to Snapchat it. You look at your elbow and you're like, you'll get up, you're fine.
You should have been like, why don't you have the overly protective case that would survive a nuclear war?
I got the nuke war case.
No, there's the one, you know those ones that are just massive, like the dad cases?
All right, so Francis, please, we have to look at the injury list because let's go back to 2008-ish. Woo!
How is he still together?
But again, if you read some of these in detail, the bottom one, in college, injured foot bone by inserting a pin on his left foot. Injury was sustained off-field in a nightclub fight. So you look at it, suffered from turf toe. That's a common injury. 2 games of pulled hamstring, sprained right ankle, fractured orbit bone. It's like Derrick Rose's injury.
I never knew this is an anatomy lesson. He's giving me more. I never knew what an orbit bone was.
Heads, ankles, foot, and legs. McFadden pulled hamstring in OTAs. DMC was placed on active PUP list to open training camp with pulled hamstring again. Look, they even got creative with the name analysis. The injury bug bit McFadden again. That's how you know it's bad. If you have that, like instead of just saying the actual injury, they're like, oh, the injury bug came up and bit McFadden on the ass. He has a pulled butt bone bruise.
There's so many athletes like this. And by the way, the only reason this came to me right now is because I was watching the OJ.
The new 30 for 30?
The new 30 for 30 last night. And I totally forgot that he was the guy in Naked Gun who was always injured. The guy in Naked Gun who would always, the movie The Naked Guns, right. He was like pushed off, he'd push him off the baseball field at the end, and that sounds very reminiscent of this fellow, who's always injured. So there's so many players like this in every single sport. We just mentioned Derrick Rose, and it hurts a little bit more for them and us when they are so talented and they have such a bright future. There was a guy, and football fans will know who I'm talking about straight away, a guy called Djibril Cissé. He broke both legs, and they were the most graphic, Jason.
Oh, no.
They were the most graphic injuries, both of them. The poor guy, he won a Champions League with Liverpool, right? So he had some sort of success. But it's almost impossible to think that you can break your leg so badly and then just do it again on the opposite leg.
I don't know. At the same time?
No, not at the same time, but it was like months apart. The poor guy just could not catch a break until it was his leg.
There's this weird fascination on Reddit with people who are like, is this the worst injury I've ever seen? Those. And then, of course, because we're so desensitized to life and injuries anyway, you hover over it, you're like, oh my God! Ezekiel Elliot pick does look better for fantasy purposes if you're, or you can package him. Granted, you don't want Darren McFadden on your team. He's only going to play, what, 6 games, Dan? He'll vulture, what, 3 touchdowns from Ezekiel Elliott?
Well, they have Alfred Morris, too. So
they do?
Yeah, so
well,
they have 3 now.
They also have the world's largest offensive line, so it doesn't matter who's behind him, Ezekiel Elliott or Alfred Morris. They're going to probably do well given a wall of...
I'm looking forward to my fantasy choice this year as well. I'm entering the TYT Sports Fantasy League.
If you win, it's like I'm going to quit my job. Dad, did we win last year? No.
No, we didn't. The belt is no longer here.
Aaron Wysocki, Team Pittsburgh won.
Boo!
Oh, it was Chris Hook?
Oh, boo. See if we can get it back.
That's what Chris Hook gets. The belt's it's literally in Pittsburgh. All right, comment below what you think about Darren McFadden's injury history and where this one ranks amongst strangest off-field injury incidents. That's a fun thread. At Francis_Maxwell, at JasonRubin91. We actually updated the social media links in the description box because they were broken for about 6 months.